Today, let us start off with one more new topic, that is microservices. What is this microservices? Is like divide and work concept is only microservices. You can say microservices is used to break up single large monolithic system into multiple independent components. What is the use of microservices? Breakup. It is used to break up single large monolithic system into multiple independent components. Now, what is this monolithic is like? Up to now, whatever the projects we have created, they are all monolithic. So what we do in monolithic? We create only one single project and we deploy into one server and we connect only to one database. So what we do here? In the case of monolithic, so what is this microservices? It is used to break up single large monolithic system into multiple independent components. So what is the meaning of monolithic? Up to now, whatever the projects we have done, they are all monolithic. We create only one project, we deploy into one server, and we connect only to one database. Such type of applications only we call monolithic. Let me write here. In monolithic application, all functionalities are part of single program. All functionalities are part of single program running in a single environment. Let me elaborate using a diagram. Monolithic application. So when you take this monolithic application, so here let us consider one shopping application which goes with the buyer profile, catalog management, cart management. So these are the components over here. So buyer profile is one component, catalog management is one component, cart management is one component. All these functionalities we create like one single project and we deploy only into one server and we connect only to one database. Now the drawback is like this complete application we should develop using only single programming language. You may use Java, you may use .NET, you may go for Python like that. So we have to use only one programming language to develop this application because we are creating only one project and deploying into one server and connecting only to one database. Now, if I do some changes to this one functionality, I need to redeploy the complete project once again. Means what are the deployment we have done for other components, we have to redeploy everything once again into the server. That is one drawback over here. And one more drawback is if one functionality also not working, the entire project will not work here. If one functionality also not working, the entire project will not work here. Such type of applications only we call monolithic application. Coming to this microservices. In microservices architecture, remember microservices is a architecture. It's only architecture. It's not a framework or it's not a API. It's only architecture. In microservices architecture, the components are built and deployed. Independently. In microservices, the components are built and deployed independently. And finally, to integrate into a single larger system. So finally, we have to integrate to make it as a single larger system. Let me elaborate using diagram. Microservices architecture. So what we are discussing, microservices is mainly for what purpose? To break up single larger monolithic system into multiple independent components. So what is this monolithic is? When you go with monolithic, we create only one project. We create only one project, like example shopping application, where we go with the components like buyer profile, catalog management, cart management. All the things we deploy only into one server and we connect only to one database. This type of applications we say monolithic. Whereas in the case of microservices, we create every component. Like example, we create this buyer profile like a microservice using Java technology, and we deploy into Tomcat server, and we connect to Oracle database. If you take catalog management, we create like a microservice using .NET technology. We deploy into IIS server and we connect to SQL server database. If you go with cart management, we create like a microservice using PHP technology. We deploy into WAMP server and we connect to MySQL database. Then from client, using this API gateway, I'll explain what is API gateway again. So using this client, using API gateway, it is going to invoke the respective components here. The respective services will get invoked here. So divide and work concept is only microservice. So whatever the component you are creating, that component I can develop using different technologies. Making use of different technologies in one single project, such type of applications only microservice. Nowadays, most of the applications are microservice applications. Like example, if you take Make My Trip, then see in this application Make My Trip, we can go with the different functionalities. We can go with what? Different functionalities. Like we can book a flight ticket, we can book hotels, we can go with the trains, we can book cabs like this. So this everything you can consider like a microservice. This is one service, this is one service, this is one service, this is one service, this is one service like this. Everything you can consider like a microservice here. So this might have developed using Java technology. This might have developed using .NET. This might have developed using PHP like this. This might have developed using Python like this. Now, for example, if one application is not working, for example, the cab services is not working, will it affect the entire project here? No, because every service is independent here. So if one service is not working, nothing to worry. Only this will not work, but remaining services are going to work. That's the main advantage of going with microservices. Right? Clear all of you? The need of going with microservices? Right? So in the case of monolithic, it is tight coupling. Tight coupling means they are dependent with each other. Whereas in the case of microservice, they are loose coupling. Right? So what are the advantages is? Advantages of microservices. The components are loosely coupled. The components are loosely coupled. They are not dependent with each other. Then it gives developers the freedom. It gives the developers freedom to independently develop and deploy services. We can develop and deploy the services independently. Then improves the scalability. Improves the scalability with the ability to individually scale services as needed. Like for example, in this case, in this Make My Trip, we are taking care of what? Flights, hotels, homestays, holidays like that. So in future, I want to add some more service, like I want to add one more functionality like hospitals. Nearby hospitals I want to show here. Nearby hospitals I want to show. So I should be able to manage that hospitals. So that new requirement we can able to add very easily. That is the meaning of scalability. Now, better fault tolerance. Better fault tolerance, which means that if one microservice fails, the others will continue. If one microservice fails, the others will continue to deliver. Just now I said no. If the CAP service is not working, then other services will not stop. They'll be working as usual. So that is the meaning of fault tolerance. Then one more advantage is code for different services can be written in different languages. So one service I can develop using Java, one service I can develop using .NET, one service can be developed using Python like that. So these are the major advantages of going with microservices. Clear this all points? Any questions? Now, in this microservices, we make use of some terminologies. We make use of some terminologies here, like service registry.
I have a doubt. So far, most of the companies are using the microservices architecture only, right?
Right.
Yeah. Instead of
Okay.
microservice architecture, is there any different architectures is also there?
But nowadays, this is more popular.
Yeah.
Microservices is more popular. So
Yeah.
previously, we used to work only in one project. Now that is the reason they have created this microservices. So
Oh,
currently, there is no other architecture which is better than microservices.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, from the past 20 years onwards, only we have each company is following the micro
Not to
service
20 years, something
architecture.
around 10 years only. 10 years.
Eh, Okay,
Some 10 years, people started converting to microservices.
okay.
Okay.
Before before 10 years, is there any services there like in
No other services there. Only they used to
old?
develop monolithic only. Monolithic way of approach.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
So here we are having some of the terminologies like service registry. So what is this service registry is? So whatever the microservices we are creating, no? Whatever the microservice we create, we have to register into this registry. We have to register that into registry. So you can select it provides the details of all the services. It provides the details of all the services registered with service registry. For this, we make use of Eureka server. Eureka server is service registry. Which server we use for service registry? We are going to make use of Eureka server. Okay. Eureka server is provided. Who has provided this? Eureka server is provided by Spring Cloud, Netflix library. So who has provided this service registry by Eureka server, and that is provided by Spring Cloud Netflix here. Okay. So whatever the services we are creating, we have to register that all services into service registry. Okay. Next one, we are having API gateway. API gateway. So what is this API gateway? API gateway is used to manage the backend APIs of project. So what is the use of API gateway? It is used to manage the backend APIs of your project. What is the need of this API gateway? Is API gateway acts as mediator between end users and backend APIs. So this API gateway acts like what? Mediator between your end users and backend APIs. So if you consider this diagram, so from the client we are going to get the request. So whatever the request you are getting from end user, client means what? So based on that URL, it is going to invoke the respective services. So who is going to take care of invoking respective services? API gateway. So it acts like a mediator between your client, that is end user, and services. So these services only we call backend APIs. Next one, we require one more concept like admin server. Admin server. So the need of this admin server is use it to monitor and manage backend services. Use it to monitor and manage what? Backend services. Then one more is like Beyond client. Beyond client. So what is this Beyond client? It is used for inter-service communication. What is the use of this Beyond client? To communicate between service to service, we make use of Beyond client. So service to service communication. Okay, then one more term, services. So what is services? It's a REST APIs. Services are REST APIs. So if I use the term services, means they are simple Spring Boot REST APIs. Simple words we can say services are Spring Boot REST APIs. Right? Now let us see how to develop this microservice application using Spring Boot in STS. Simple application, because this is a complex topic for us to understand. So I'll go with a simple basic application today. Developing a microservice application using Spring Boot in STS. The first step, what we need to is, we need to register our service registry. We need to configure our service registry. So what is the need of service registry? What are the services we are creating? These all services we have to register into service registry. See here, understand here. Let us suppose here we are creating two services. We are creating two services. One is greet service. One is greet service and one more is welcome service. Greet service and welcome service. Let us suppose greet service is deployed in a port number 3333. This greet service is deployed in which port number? 3333. And let us suppose this welcome service is deployed in the port number. It's running in the server, deployed in port number 4444. Now, so what are the services we are creating? First of all, we have to we have to register these services into admin client. We have to register these services into what here? Admin server, which we call it as admin server. So we require one admin server. So what are the admin server we are creating? These services we have to register into admin server. What are the services we are creating? We have to register these services into what? Admin server. Now let us suppose this admin server is running in port number. So let us suppose this admin service is running in port number 2222. Some port numbers, you can use any port numbers, it is up to us. Now, I want to make this welcome service to communicate with greet service. So if one service want to communicate with other service, we make use of what? Fion client. We make use of what? Fion client in order to communicate between the services. Now, what are the services we are creating? We are to register these services into what here? Service registry. What are the services we are creating? We are to register into service registry. Okay, and service registry by default, it will be running in the port number. We have to mention the port number, that is 8761. That use which port number? 8761. So when we use the port number as 8761, what are the services we are creating, that will get registered to the service registry automatically. When we use the port number 8761, this is the port number 8761. This is the default port number for your service registry, that is Eureka server in our case. So this even we call it as Eureka server. This even we call it as what? Eureka server. So what are the services we are creating? We are to register these services into what? Service registry. What are the services we are creating? We are to register the services into service registry. Okay. So what is this register? Everything I'll explain to you. Means register means where your service is running. So what is the location of your service? Those details we have to store it into service registry. So the advantage is, in future if I change this port number to 5555. So if you are not having this concept of service registry, if one service want to communicate to other service, we have to give the location. Let me explain once. So for example, if there is no concept of service registry, I have created greet service and welcome service. Welcome service want to invoke greet service. So if I want to invoke greet service, then we have to provide this location details where the service is running. So without knowing the location details, we cannot invoke. Let us suppose if this port number got updated to 5555, means your service has changed the location. So here only two services, not a big issue. I can give this new port number to this, no problem. But in reality, we may go with hundreds of services. If one service changes the location, we have to update to other services where it has been invoked. That is the main drawback. So for that reason only, what we do, we create one service registry, which we call Eureka server. And what are the services you are creating? We are to register with service registry. So once you register, what is the meaning of register? This location details will be stored into your service registry. What are the location where your service is running? That details will be stored into the service registry. So in future, if this port number gets updated to 5555, nothing to worry. So these new details will automatically get updated to Eureka. So these details will automatically get updated to Eureka. Okay. So if one service want to communicate to other service, it's very easy now, because all that services are registered in service registry. So the communication, the integration will become easy when we make use of this microservices, and how we develop these microservices using service registry. So service registry is the place where we keep all our services into service registry. Then what is the need of admin server? What I said about admin server? It's mainly used to monitor and manage your backend services. And what is the use of VM client? To communicate one service with another service. Right? So we are going to develop this application now. I'll be sharing this diagram, refer diagram. I'll set as Eureka server. Okay, I'll be sharing this diagram also, the new diagram what I've drawn now. Now let us develop this complete application. So here how many things what we require here? So first we have to create this service registry. Then we have to go with this admin server. Then we create a greet service and we add it to admin server and even we register with service registry. Then we create welcome service. Then we register into admin server as well as service registry. Then after that we'll see how to communicate between these two using FIAN client. So that is the steps what we are going to follow now. So first of all, let us go with service registry. So for that, we'll see here, configure service registry. How to configure is create a Spring Starter project in STS. Create one Spring Starter project in STS. Now, let us go with the name service registry. Any name we can use. Type Maven, Java version 17. Group will say com.architect as usual. Artifact, it takes our name only, service registry. Package, some package. Click next. Add the following dependencies. The following dependencies. What we need to add is Spring Web and one more very important one, Eureka Server. Spring Web and Eureka Server. Click finish. Let us do this step now. So I've taken a new workspace here. I've taken new workspace, Microservices. Now, click on File, New, Spring Starter Project. Let us take the name like Service Registry. Then type Maven, Java version 17, group, com.architect. Artifact, it takes the name here, com.architect. Some package details. Now click on Next. Here we need to add the project dependencies. We are going with the Spring Web. Then next important one, Eureka Server. Eureka Server. See, Eureka Server is coming from where? See, it's Spring Cloud Netflix Eureka Server. It is what? Spring Cloud Netflix Eureka Server. It's from Netflix. So choose this one and click on Finish button. Once this is done, the next step is, here you can see the file. See, under our package, you can see which file? Service registry application.java. So this is our entry point for our Spring Boot applications, right? This is the entry point for our Spring Boot applications. So what is our next step is update service registry application.java file of com.architect package by adding the following annotation. That is enable Eureka server. So this annotation we need to add. So what we need to do in this file, just above this class, we have to enable Eureka server like this. Enable Eureka server. That's it. Once that means we are informing that we are going to make use of Eureka server that we are enabling. Now the next step is update application.properties file. Update what? Application.properties file. Okay, so here let us do this update. Go to this application.properties file. Now here let us go with the port number server.port. What is the port number we have to give? 8761. So when we give this port number 8761, the Eureka clients, the clients means your services, will automatically get registered into this service registry when we use the port number as 8761. Now, up to here, let us run this project. Run. Service registry as Spring Boot app. So right click on the service registry and say run as Spring Boot app. Here it is using the port number 8761. Now open browser and type the URL http://localhost 8761. So here you can see here Spring Eureka, and here you can see instances currently registered with Eureka. See, one instance it's taking because we have created like a Spring Boot project. So that also will become a service here. Whenever you create Spring Boot project, that will become its own service. That's the reason it is showing one service is present here. So I don't want to register this same service into our Eureka. Then we have to use one property called as, Eureka.client dot register with Eureka as false. So whatever the clients we are creating, that I don't want to register with Eureka directly. So that's the reason we are using this application Eureka.client.register with Eureka as false. So whatever the Spring Boot project we have created, now this will not get registered with Eureka. Now check it here. Let us run the project again. We are running the project again. Now check it here. Now you can see no instances available. So we have just configured only Eureka server, that is service registry we have configured. And to the service registry, did we add any services? No, that's the reason we are getting no instances available. Clear up to here, all of you? Right?
Yeah.
So compulsory you need to practice this, okay? Then open browser and type the following URL. What is that? http://localhost:8761. Just a second. So what we have done, we have created this service and we have configured the port number 8761, this one 8761, and when we open this localhost 8761, once we run the project, see, to this instances currently registered with Eureka? No. So no instances available, means we have just configured only Eureka server. We have just configured what? Eureka server. Now the next step is, let us go with the next one, admin server. Configure admin server. How to configure admin server is, so here, create a Spring Starter project. For everything we have to create a Spring Starter project. Name, we'll take it as admin server. Any names, these all things are our wish. Then type Maven Java version 17 group artifact. It takes the name only, admin server, then package. Click next. In project dependencies, add the following. So what we need to add is Spring Web. Then we have to go with admin. It will show like this. Code centrics, Spring Boot, admin. In this, we have to choose server. Click finish. Now, let me show up here. Let me stop this. No. So if you just click on this symbol, the service will get stopped. Now let us create a new Spring Starter project. Let us go with the name admin server. Admin server. Then all the things will be same. Just to click on next. Here what we need to choose, Spring Web, and one more. Just to type here in available admin. So once you type admin, see here it's showing say code centric Spring Boot admin server. So this is coming from what? So this is coming from code centric. It's coming from code centric. So we have to choose server here because it's a admin server. So these two dependencies we need to add, Spring Web and admin server. Then click on finish button. Click on finish button. Now, once this is created, now the next step is, you can see the entry point for our Spring Boot application now. Admin application server application, admin server application. This is the entry point for our Spring Boot application. So above this class, we have to use one annotation, enable admin server. So this annotation we have to use above the class. So our next step is update this .java file of com.rajtech package by adding the following annotation. So what is that annotation? Enable admin server. Now, the next step is update application.properties file. So we have to update what? Application.properties file. Now, go to this application.properties file. So here we have to provide the port number. So we are going with the port number server.port. Let me go with the port number as 2222. Here, see the diagram. So we have done this part. We have done with this part. Now we are doing this one, admin server. So running in which port number? 2222. Any port number you can take. It's up to you. Okay. Now, so we have given the port number as 2222. Now the next step is run admin server as Spring Boot app. Open browser and type the following URL. What is that? http://localhost:222. The port number where it is running, admin server 222. Right? Now, let us run this project now. Right click and say Before that, you can run service registry. Service registry we are running and see any services present, no services. Now let us run admin server. We are running admin server. Then now go with the URL http://localhost : what is the port number? 2222. Now see here, how many applications are there? 0. Instances 0, because we have just configured only admin server. Spring Boot admin server only we have configured. So did we add any instances to this? Any applications, any services to this? No. So once we run this localhost 2222, so it's showing the Spring Boot admin. There are no applications and no instances here. No applications are registered. So up to now what we have done? We have done these two parts. We have done this service registry and we have done this admin server. Now let us go with the services. Now the next step, let us go with this greet service first. Creating services. Creating Spring Starter project. Create a Spring Starter project. Name, let us go with Greet APA service. We are going with the name Greet APA service. Then type Maven, Java version 17, group. Artifact, it takes the name Greet APA service. Then package. Now the next one, click next. Add the following project dependencies. This is very, very important. Add the following project dependencies. What dependencies we need to add here is, we have to go with the Spring Web. As we are going to create a REST controller, because one service should communicate to other service, means we have to make use of REST controllers. Then next one, Spring, this one, Eureka discovery client. Eureka discovery client. So because this Greet APA service, it's acting like a client for your Eureka. So we have configured server. Now we have to mark this Greet APA service as client here. So for that, we are going to add the dependency Eureka discovery client. Then we need to go with the admin. So here we'll get code centric Spring Boot admin, but we have to choose here client now, because this is acting like a client now. Then one more called as Spring Boot Actuator. So this is Actuator is mainly to monitor your services. This is mainly for what purpose? To monitor your services. Click finish. Let us do this step now. Let us stop services so that it won't disturb the new service. It will take some little bit time to open again. It's not responding the window. Let us create a new Spring Starter project. Let us go with the name Greet API service. Then Click next here. Remaining values are same like previous. Here what we need to choose Spring Web. Then next one we have to go with Eureka Discovery Client. Remember this is acting like client here. So Eureka Discovery Client. Then admin. And in this admin, what we have to choose now? Code centric Spring Boot admin, and we have to choose client now. We have to choose client. And one more, what is it? Accutator. Spring Boot Accutator. So this is mainly to monitor your services. So these 4 dependencies we need to add into our project. Now click finish. Now the next step is once we have created the service. Now, so this is our entry point for Spring Boot application. So about this class, we have to use one annotation to mark it as a service. We have to use one annotation, this one like enable discovery client. Which annotation we have to use? At the rate enable discovery client. So we are just marking the service as a Eureka client here. Enable discovery client. So our next step is update this Java file of the package by adding the following annotation. What is that? At the rate enable discovery client. The next step is update application.properties file. So we have to update this application.properties file. Go to this application.properties file, present under resources folder. Here it's going with the name spring.application.name. So we have to give some name to your service. So let me go with the name as Greet API. I'm going with the name Greet API. And let me take the port number server.port. Let me take 3333. Any port number, it's up to you. Then the next important one. Now we have to add this service to admin server. So we need to add this one to what? Admin server. So we have to give the location where your admin server is running. So how to provide that is spring.boot.admin dot client dot URL. So where is the location? http://localhost:2222. So where admin server is running, in which port number it is running? 2222. This one. These details I am providing over here. So spring.boot.admin.client URL. This is the location where your admin server is running. And the next thing, we have to provide the endpoints here. So for that, we have to use the property management dot endpoint. Endpoint means what? Your service only. So whatever the REST API you are creating, that only we call endpoints. So here we are saying management dot endpoints dot web dot exposure include. Web dot exposure include star means whatever the endpoint it may be, it is going to access our APIs. That's it. Now once we configure these properties in application.properties file, now let us run our applications now. We did not develop any code here. So let us just run our applications. So let us run our service registry first. So we are running our service registry. Then check the URL now, localhost 8761. Any services registered here? No services registered. Now let us run admin server. We are running admin server. Now come to this location, Spring Boot admin, localhost 2222. If you refresh, any services? No, no applications are running. Now the next important one, let us run this Greet service. We are running our great service now. We did not develop any code inside this. We are just running our great service. Now check here. Reload this page. I'm reloading this Eureka server. Now see, the service got registered into Eureka now. So we have registered our Grid API into what? Eureka. What is the name of the service I've given? Grid API. And this is the location where it is running. So this is my computer name and this is the API name, the service name and port number. So in future, if this port number gets updated to something like 5555, nothing to worry. So that will get updated automatically over here. That will get updated automatically. So this concept only we call what? This concept only we call registering our services with Eureka. Clear up to here, all of you? Any questions? Right? Now, let me stop up to here and let us deploy the application up to here, what we have done into our GitHub. Please wait, don't leave. So I'm creating a new repository. Let me go with the name Microservices repo. I'm going with the name Microservices repo. Then create repository. Take this piece of code. Copy this. So we are working in our folder, Microservices folder. Now, let me open Git bash. Paste our code. Whatever you have copied, paste it and run here. Now see. So we have connected to our repository. Now, the next one, what we need to do, git add, right? Git add dot. Git commit -m microservices project, something. Finally, git push. Now check your repository. Here you can see all our codes here. You can see our admin server, create API service and service registry. Okay. So this is our Git URL to access this code. Okay. And here also let me try it. Run create API service as Spring Boot app. Okay. Right. Clear all of you up to here? Please practice this. So tomorrow we'll go with the next part. Like we'll be creating one REST controller class in create service and we check whether it is working. Then we create welcome service with one REST controller class and we check whether it's working. Now the next step we'll see how welcome service is going to invoke create service using FIR client. Okay, so that remaining complete part we'll be discussing in tomorrow's class.